Father had booked on the plane to go to Munich because he thought he'd be on the board by then. And when he wasn't elected to the board, he withdrew from the plane.
Wow, that seemed crazy.
And his place was taken by a gentleman who actually got killed in
Is say, for instance, someone like David Beckham, is he a great player or is he a good player?
You look at players like Ryan Giggs, you look at players like Brian Robson, Roy Keane, Paul Scholes. You know, they're all up there in my top players. But the one who excited me the most. Now, if you say to me, who was the best between Law, Charlton and Best?
So, Martin,
Yeah.
good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming on. So let's wind it back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Born in Adlington, the 24th of July,
Yeah.
1945.
Yeah.
Your dad, Louis, was the chairman of Manchester United. What was it like growing up around?
Yeah. I mean, he didn't become chairman until 1965. So I was brought up in Wilmslow originally, and my father moved to Alder Edge when I was 3. So I lived all my life in the area, but obviously the 1950s was totally different to today. You cannot believe in 80 years the changes is absolutely phenomenal, really. But Alderley was a totally different area at the time. It was where the wealthy businessmen from Manchester retreated at weekends.
Yeah.
And you know, so but now it's changed over the years, and obviously over the years more famous people have moved into the area, and I think football itself, as it's grown, more footballers have grown, so it's just changed the dynamics really.
Yeah.
But Alderley's still Alderley.
Alderley's still Alderley. I always say it's just such a funny place. It's like the Beverly Hills of England, isn't it? You know,
Yes.
On a good summer day, when you can see people driving their Ferraris and putting one can of beans in the front because there's no boot to Waitrose and driving back. It's great. It's great living here. It's like a supercar show.
Yeah.
When were you? When you were growing up, you moved into the family business, which was a meat
business. Yes.
Yeah. Have you always been a fan of Man United? Has your family always been surrounded by that?
Well, my father was due to go on the board of Manchester United the Tuesday before the Munich air crash, the week before. And Harold Hardman, the chairman, proposed him. Matt Busby and father were sort of best friends, and Matt wanted father on the board because he wanted Harold Hardman, the chairman, previous chairman, before my father. He was, what should we say, rather old-fashioned and didn't like parting with money. And Matt wanted to buy money for players and all the rest of it. He just felt with a bit more support on the board from father, it would expand, you know, it would get Harold Hardman to open up a little bit and maybe spend a bit of money. So Matt was keen to get father on the board, and Harold Hardman proposed to him. One director, who I think feared father, objected. So Harold Hardman said, well, I'm not going to bring Louis on. I want it to be unanimous. And he said to Whittaker, Mr. Whittaker, the director, I want you to think about this, and I'm going to propose him at the next board meeting in a month's time. My father had booked on the plane to go to Munich because he thought he'd be on the board by then. And when he wasn't elected to the board, he withdrew from the plane.
Wow, that seemed crazy.
And his place was taken by a gentleman who actually got killed in the crash.
That's an amazing story.
So the very next day after the Munich air crash, and there's even more to this story. Whittaker, on the Friday night in London before the Arsenal game, which was the game on the Saturday before they flew out to Belgrade, he died. Natural causes, in his bed in the Russell Hotel. So the opposition had gone to father coming on the board anyway. So it was all
crazy story,
unbelievable
isn't it?
Circumstances.
Yeah.
So my father withdrew from the trip, didn't go. The day after the Munich air crash, Harold Hardman brought him on the board. So he actually joined the board on the 7th of February, 1958, the day after the crash.
I mean, that is an incredible story. It's just funny how life works. It's like you hear them stories. I think there was an actress, Kim Cattrall, and she was due to get on the flight, the American Airlines flight, crashed in Lockerbie, and she didn't get on the plane.
Yeah.
So that's an incredible story.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be sitting here with you now.
Yeah, no. It's crazy. It's crazy. And just history would have been completely different.
It would have been, yeah.
Was Man United growing up? I asked you this before, but was it the main topic of conversation all the time?
I mean, because Father and Matt were great friends as well. Every Saturday at night, Jean and Matt Busby used to go out with my mother and father. They used to go to Prestbury, the bridge at Prestbury. So from a very early age, I knew Matt and Jean Busby because they were always round on a Saturday night. They used to call in at my parents for a drink before they went off to the bridge at Prestbury. So I knew Matt from being a very young boy, and it was always Uncle Matt and Auntie Jean.
Yeah.
So I had that sort of connection, and of course when I was at school, I used to obviously people knew the connection between my father being on the board and me being United and everything else. But I really became a big supporter. I remember my father used to bring programmes home, and I went to my first game when I was about 7. But I was at a school that played rugby, Terranova, a prep school, played rugby, all the rest of it. And I didn't really get fully into United till I was about 12 when Father went on the board. Because obviously when he went on the board, that meant I could go to matches and be in the director's box and all the rest of it. So I really became a supporter just after Munich, really. And I remember when we bought Albert Quixol in 1958, and I remember my heroes at the time were Harry Gregg and Bobby Charlton and Alec Dawson and all these players from the 50s, really, from 1958 onwards.
Yeah. Do you think you were always destined to become on the board, to become chairman? I
don't know, really, because I think for a long while, obviously when you're young, you don't necessarily think that way. I mean, I knew my father was chairman and all the rest of it. Obviously, I was looking forward to going on the board. And I suppose even when my father died, I was, 35 at the time, but it was a bit sudden. We weren't, so it all happened very quickly. But I just knew that when it happened, I was 34, I think. I'd been working in the family business for about 10 years, and I was chief exec of half the business, the retail side of the business. So I felt confident that at that age, that when Father died, that I was the right one to take over. But I hadn't given a lot of thought before, because obviously you don't anticipate your father suddenly dying at the age of 65.
No, it's very, very young.
So it was a shock. But once it happened, I realised then, and I remember that the board approached me, or Les Olive, the secretary of the board, approached me and said, look, the board had a meeting without me being there and decided that they wanted Matt to take over. And I thought about it. I thought it was the wrong decision. And obviously the shareholding that the family had, I could force that decision, but I just said to the I think that's the wrong decision. I said, Matt is now 70 odd years old. He'd had ill health, which we knew about, and all the rest of it. I was 34, a businessman, all the rest of it. I just felt that was the right decision for me. So they reconsidered it, and they actually made me chief exec. Well, we didn't have chief exec, but they made me chairman at the time, and they made Sir Matt the president. Yeah. So they got around it that way. And obviously, I knew with Matt being there as president, I could consult him on football matters and all the rest of it. But I felt confident on the business side of it.
Yeah.
I could.
And I mean, of course, 34 is the optimum age, isn't it? You've learned all you need to learn from the age of 18 or whatever, and then you're still young. You've still got energy.
Yeah.
But also, you've still got some mat on your shoulder, like you said.
Correct. Exactly.
So 1980, you started your tenure, which went all the way to 2003.
Yep.
What were the first few years like as a young man?
Fairly difficult. Obviously, I'd had 10 years' experience on the board, because I came on the board in 1970. I was only 24 when I came on the board. And obviously, I'd been going to board meetings. I'd seen how the club operated. I'd seen how Matt ran the football side. And obviously, he was a huge influence at the time. I'd seen how Father chaired the meetings, and obviously seen the other directors. So I knew how it operated, and I knew how the league rules and everything else after 10 years' experience. So I was fairly confident that I knew quite a bit about the industry and football and how things worked. But of course, in 1980, the commercial side of the football in those days was almost non-existent, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you had things like ground advertising and things like that. The shirt sponsorship money always went to the players' pool and things like that. So the commercial income was very, very low at the time. And I think I realised very early on that I really wanted that, for the club to ever make any money. One year we'd make money, the next year we'd lose money, but it was always difficult for the club to make a profit. And obviously the demand there was to buy players and to be number one and all the rest of it. And I just felt that I also felt that we weren't really structured. We never did a budget. The club didn't really do a budget.
Wild to think of that these days, isn't it?
In those days, can you imagine running a business today without a budget? It was little bit hand to mouth. So what I did was I put in a structure and a budget and thought, well, look, we need to commercialise this. We need to start making money out of parts of the business. You know what I mean? So, and we started really with Sharp in 1982.
Of course, yeah.
Liverpool actually were the first to get a sponsor. I think it was Hitachi, wasn't it, or something. And then in 1982 we got Sharp. And I remember the first contract with Sharp was for £500,000, £250,000 a year for 2 years.
Did that feel like a lot back?
Well, that was a lot of money.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
It was a good start.
The average house price in 1980s was about 12k maybe or something. Correct. Less. And
you think about it. So that was the start, and then obviously, and also things like ground development. Father was reasonably commercial. Manchester United was the first one to put executive boxes in 1960s. For the 66 World Cup.
Yeah.
They started in about 64.
How much was the price of an executive box back then?
I couldn't know.
Pounds, not hundreds of thousands.
Unbelievable. Yeah, they put all boxes in the back of the North stand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 6-seater boxes. And then I remember before he died, Father built the East Stand and put window tables in and all the rest of it. So we were commercially ahead of anybody anyway. But obviously, as we developed the ground over the years, we put more and more executive facilities, more executive lounges. So we were improving the earnings. Per entry, all the way around. Some of the decisions were unpopular, particularly when we developed the Stretford end. We hadn't got the money to develop the Stretford end, so we did a rights issue, which was unpopular. We raised the money for it, but we always realised that we were going to spend that sort of money on building the Stretford end. We needed to put some executive seats in there, which was going to be unpopular because it was all standing originally, and putting seats in there, people started to say, well, you're going to ruin the atmosphere and all the rest of it. But the people were prepared to pay a lot of money for a seat in this historic Stretford end. So commercially it was the right decision, but obviously some of the fans didn't like it. But we had to balance our books at the time.
Could you remember, because people will be interested to know, what was the pay like for a footballer back then? Let's face it, these days, £250,000 is not unusual a week, is it anymore?
No.
What were they on?
Well, I mean, I don't like talking about players' wages, but I'm sure that there's
an average.
Yeah.
An average.
Well, I remember when we bought Brian Robson was it 81, 82 or something. I mean, Brian Robson's contract then, and then it would be a big contract for, compared to anybody else at the time, was probably £100,000 a year.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think.
When you think that a player today will earn 3 or 4 times that in 1 week.
In 1 week.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
It is wild.
It's bad.
Wild.
But the actual, I was trying to explain this to somebody the other day. It's basically the most money. What drives football is television.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, when you think the contract's worth $5 billion or whatever, a certain period of time, whatever, the amount of money coming in is television. Even then, once we formed the Premier League, and people started to pay serious money for television, that's when the wages grew and grew and grew.
Yeah.
And when you think the first contract, when I took over United, every club in the league got £25,000 for television.
Wow.
A year. £25,000 for the year. All 92 clubs. Manchester United didn't get any more than Stockport.
Everything was the same.
Everything was divided by 92. Even though you may be the club appearing.
Socialism, right
there was no live TV. It was all recorded highlights, all the rest of it.
What was it primarily on, Martin? Was it at BBC?
And ITV.
ITV as well, because Channel 4 has never really been into sports particularly, was it? But there was 3 channels then. Channel 4 was 81 or something.
But TV money is £25,000 a year. That's what it was.
Mental.
And then when you look at it today, it's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. Was the 80s a period of time for you in your tenure quite stressful? Because Man United weren't always performing, were they?
No, I mean, when I took over, Dave Sexton was the manager, and he'd been there for 3 years. So the first year with Dave, I think we ended up second actually when I took over the first year. But after that, I never quite felt that with the style of football that we were going to play, that we're actually going to win the league with it. I mean, Dave was a lovely man. He'd had success at Chelsea and all the rest of it. But I don't know that I just didn't feel that we were actually going to get the Holy Grail, which was winning the league and going into Europe and all the rest of it, into the Champions League, which was the old European Cup. Then I had Ron Atkinson, and Ron was there for 4 years, and we were never out of the top 4. And in fairness, we qualified for Europe every single year. But I just felt at the end that things were beginning to dip a bit. The last season that he was there, he was there for the first few games of the season. I think we were in 19th position or something when I actually made the decision. I just felt that it wasn't that he'd had a go at it, come very close, but we were just beginning to dip. That
little
we were just beginning to dip.
Yeah. So was that when you turned your attention to Aberdeen and to Alex Ferguson?
Yeah. So that was after 4 years of Ron.
Yeah. What drew you to Alex Ferguson?
Well, I got to know Alec over the Gordon Strachan business, because we bought Gordon Strachan from Aberdeen, and Gordon had actually signed a contract with 2 other clubs, one being Cologne and one being a French club. So we had to get, and Alec was going to get more, or Aberdeen were going to get more money if we bought him than they bought him, because we offered £500,000 and they were on the European multiplier at the time, which meant they were going to get less. So Alec was keen for us to get him.
Yeah.
So, and he helped us with the negotiation with that. So I got to know him, but really it was his record. I mean, to take over Aberdeen, to win the league 3 times and the Scottish Cup 4 times, and particularly to beat Real Madrid in the Cup Winners' Cup final was incredible for a small club like Aberdeen to actually do it. So his success was phenomenal over the border. There's always a risk that bringing in somebody from
a different
league or whatever,
league, country, even,
and all the rest of it. Yeah. But in those days, I think Scottish football was closer to English football. I think English football now, because of the money in England,
is way
the clubs have got, they've left Rangers and Celtic behind. But in those days, Scottish football was probably closer.
Yeah, they always said like a good Celtic or Rangers would be mid-league, like maybe where Everton were at some point.
But the fact that he'd beaten Real Madrid in the Cup Winners' Cup final and proved that he could do it in Europe as well was a big factor.
Yeah.
So he was definitely top of my list, and the other directors all agreed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was.
What was his character like back in the day?
Ambitious.
Yeah.
So I think if you're ambitious, you can be a bit fiery.
Yeah. Well, he's known for that, isn't he?
And he could do. But I think Eric was also, he was clever with it, with the way that he controlled his. He'd lose his temper, but he'd do it deliberately.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you saw after they won the cup up in Scotland one year. He went absolutely berserk, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
I think he was a good actor as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He
could, you know what I mean? He wasn't happy with the performance. So even though they'd won, he wasn't going to.
He wasn't going to give them
the credit.
The credit, because
he felt they could have done better. So, and he was good at that. And I think he could lose his temper with a player, but underneath, it was very quickly mended. You know what I mean? So it's good management in a way. You know what I mean? I don't think he actually did lose it. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
What was your toughest decision during that period of time?
Difficult one. I think probably the toughest decision was when Ron arrived, and we decided to go on that spree when we bought Brian Robson and Remy Moses for $2 million. And that season we went out of the cup very early. Was it at Watford or somewhere? And we we got knocked out of Europe in the first round, and it all turned.
Just thinking, oh my God,
what have we done? You know what I mean? We've incurred all this expense and all the rest of it, and what have we done? But I don't think I regretted the decision, because I knew Brian Robson was going to be a good player. So I don't know. All decisions when you have to buy big, and we broke the record many times, didn't we?
That's right. Yeah.
With several players over the years, but. You've just got to work out in your own mind. It's only experience that gets you there. You have to work in your own mind what you're paying, what he's going to cost over the number of years he's with you, if there's any payback at the end, and you know your figures. Can you afford that?
Yeah. And what value they add in the interim.
Correct. Yeah. At the end of the day, if it goes wrong, is it going to break you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you can, so you weigh up the risk with each one.
Yeah.
But that's the experience that gives you that. The longer you're there, the more players you buy, the more you sell it, the more you get into that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you had Mark Hughes. Did he come from Barcelona? He went to Barcelona and came back.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Mark Hughes was a very difficult one for me, because I never wanted Mark Hughes to go, and nor did Ron, in fairness. But Mark Hughes was with us, and Barcelona were interested, and Dennis Roach was his agent, and he did a deal with Barcelona that he was going to go to Barcelona. But he was still under contract to us. So what I did with Mark Hughes, I called him in and gave him a bigger wage, much bigger increase, because if he went, he'd go on the European multiplier. The bigger the wage, the more we got from Barcelona. If he went under contract, so if he went. So, but I had to give a clause in the contract that if he went, he could go for 1.8 million, right? Because otherwise he'd never have signed the contract, and we'd have got a lot less money anyway.
Yeah.
I couldn't win. The only thing I could do was protect the club by guaranteeing more money if he went.
Yeah.
And he did go.
Yeah.
And of course I got the stick for that, for letting him go, but he would have gone anyway at a cheaper price.
Yeah.
So I couldn't win.
The right thing to do, really. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So flip forward towards the end of the 80s. Things are getting a little bit sticky.
Yeah.
We get to 1990, and I think I discussed to you before. 1990 was a pivotal point against Crystal Palace, wasn't it, in the FA Cup final?
Yeah.
And Lee Martin, who I used to live pretty much next door to, scored the goal. Was that the turning point for Alec?
It was indeed. I mean, people always say that. Well, the turning point was that season, and it was the FA Cup win, yes. Yeah. But everybody felt that when we got drawn in the third round against Nottingham Forest away.
Yes, yeah.
And everybody said, if he loses this game, he's going.
Yeah.
And I told Alec, I said, Alec,
don't lose the game.
No. I actually said to Alec, I said, you're not going. I told him the week before. I said, you're not going. I didn't want the pressure of that. I said, you're not going. But underneath the pressure, I knew that if we lost that game, it wasn't going. I wasn't going to break my word, but he wasn't going. But I knew that by the end of that season, if we got out of the third round and our league position hadn't improved, I'd have been I'd have been under huge pressure.
Yeah.
And I think I would have had to have done something. So winning that game was huge. Forest away was not an easy fixture at the time under Brian Clough. They were a good team. We won that, went on the cup run, and definitely winning the cup was I mean, if we'd lost that final, I don't say he'd have gone, because we'd got to the cup final. We'd recovered things, but that also gave him the confidence and everything else. That first win was so important.
Yeah.
Because that then got us in the Cup Winners' Cup, and the following year we went on to win the Cup Winners' Cup.
Of course.
Yeah, we had some easy games early on. And it was only when we got to the final that we had a difficult one against Barcelona. But nevertheless, we went on to win it in Rotterdam, and from there on, it was go.
Could you have imagined in a separate reality, like your father when we were talking about the plane, that Alec had have not won that game?
Yeah.
What would have happened to Alec Ferguson if?
You don't know, do you?
We don't know. I mean, you could imagine him like being a lower league manager somewhere and losing his confidence. Or
you just don't. You never
just
know.
do not know, do you?
You never know.
You have no idea.
No, I don't think Alec could agree with that analogy, but
I think Alec is a very, always has been a very determined man who would have done great things, no matter what.
Yeah.
So, class of '92, it kind of brings us to, doesn't it?
Yes.
that must have been an exciting time.
Yeah, I mean, we knew what we had there.
Yeah. Who stood out first out of them?
Well, I'll tell you, of the team that actually won the Youth Cup in '92, the two players for me that absolutely stood out were Ben Thornley, who
of course
was a left winger, and he was the star of that team.
Yeah.
He was fantastic, and Nicky Butt.
Yeah,
Nicky Butt was only 17. He played like a man. He was so mature. His tackling, scored goals. Those were the two, for me, the two stars. Obviously, he had Giggs in there as well. Obviously, but we all knew about Giggs. Giggs was a certainty. But Butt and Thornley were fantastic.
Where did Ben Thornley go to?
What happened with Ben Thornley? He was very, very unlucky. In a reserve game at Blackburn, it was a terrible tackle. Broke his leg.
Oh.
And he was never, ever the same
again.
Afterwards. He came back, played a few games, but he was never the same. It finished him.
That's such a shame.
Yeah.
It must.
But I mean, when you
difficult.
think of the Nevilles, Butt, Beckham, Scholes, all went on to play for England. Ben Thornley would have been an England player.
And the riches and the life
would have been an absolute certainty for
absolute
England.
nightmare.
Yeah.
Did he go and play for Everton, or who did he go down?
He went to Ben.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he.
Or was that it for him? I can't.
I'm not sure Ben actually. I can't remember where Ben went.
I know, it's funny. I can't remember his name, but I know a player who was in that picture in that lineup, and he was one of the few in that picture that didn't get. I think he went down to play for Everton, and he became a school teacher. It must have been a tough.
Okay.
What's his first name?
One of the lads, the right half, went to Everton, didn't he?
Yeah, and then that was kind of it.
Yeah.
It must be a tough pill to swallow, that one.
Now, you asked me the best players in '92. The following year, one player came out. We won that year, and the following year we got to the final, I think, and played Leeds and lost in the final of the Youth Cup the following year. Now, the star that year, or the player that came through that year, was Paul Scholes. And I always remember Brian Kidd saying to me, of all that era, of the Beckham, Giggs, Scholes, Nevilles, all the rest of it, he said to me, Chairman, the jewel in the crown is Paul Scholes.
Yeah,
he will be the player that shines of all of them.
Yeah, and he did, but very low key, very low key. He always kept his head down, always very quiet, but kind of stoic.
Yeah.
And a workhorse as well.
Correct.
Yeah. What do you think about is say, for instance, someone like David Beckham? Is he a great player or is he a good player? Was some of his profile built on other things?
Well, Beckham, but all those players that came through, they were all fantastic.
Yeah,
they were all good players. I could only do it this way. If I was picking my United team of that era, that era, before Beckham, I would have Schmeichel in there.
Yep.
I'd have Cantona. Well, Cantona was a bit late. Yeah. I'd have had Cantona there. I'd have had Dennis Irwin in probably before.
Of course.
Scholesy before and Giggs before.
Yeah.
So, but he was still a good player. They were all great players, but he wasn't the star of that team. There were players that you'd pick were more important. Because don't forget, before Beckham, you had Kanchelskis there.
Yeah.
And he was a fantastic player.
Really good player.
Beckham to his place. When Beckham left, Ronaldo comes in.
Yeah.
Now, you couldn't say that Beckham was better than Ronaldo. He wasn't.
No.
Was he better than Kanchelskis? You know what I mean? He was a good player, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he was a good player.
They were all good players. But he wasn't as great, I don't think, as people make out. He wasn't.
No, I can agree with you. I think some people are a bit unfair because he was a really good football player. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. People say he's just built on reputation and his star power, but I don't agree with that. Is he in the top whatever? Not really, maybe, but great free kick.
Yeah.
Great free kick.
Great crosser.
Great crosser.
And great at free kicks,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, did you expect to do what you did in 1999?
Did I expect 1-2-99? I felt that we could have won the European Cup before that.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, a couple of years before that, in 97, yeah, when we played Dortmund in the semi-final, I honestly thought that could be our year with Cantona. And unfortunately, we lost the semi-final away, didn't we? 1-0. Played reasonably well in that, Dortmund. But at the home game, 1-0 down, and they scored first. And that was the end of it, really. So disappointed to go out in that semi-final. So I felt that maybe we might have lost our chance there. In '99, we were buzzing, and I knew we had a good chance. But to be honest with you, when we got to the final, I thought without Scholes and Keane, I thought we were struggling.
Yeah.
Against Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich were a strong team. We played them in the earlier rounds and drawn with them, hadn't we? And drawn with them
That's
twice,
right,
I think, and all the rest of it. So we knew we could compete at full strength, and that would have been, for me, it would have been like that. It would have been equal. But the fact that we hadn't got Keane and Scholes on the day, with the team we had out and players playing out of position and all the rest of it, I thought we'd be under the cosh. I thought we'd just done the double, which I thought was fantastic. I thought the treble's probably just going to be a little bit too far for us. And I think, in fairness, on the day, our luck went our way. I mean, they were definitely the better side in the 90 minutes, weren't they? You know what I mean? They hit the woodwork 3 times or twice, and Schmeichel made a good save. We hadn't really threatened, and suddenly we get to extra time.
You couldn't write that.
No, you couldn't.
That's kind of like a movie, isn't it? And you watch this movie, and at the end of the movie, Solskjaer knocks it in a few seconds before it all ends.
Correct.
It's insane.
No, it is.
It was insane. What was that feeling like?
Yeah.
What was that feeling like?
It's just unbelievable. Really. I hadn't actually sort of really recovered from the first goal when the second one went in. I was just so relieved. At least we got extra time. We got another 13 minutes to have a go at it. You know what I mean? Just the relief, really. And then bang, we scored another one. It was just,
What was the time like after that? What was coming back to what was being in Manchester? What was... Just describe the next few months.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you win a trophy, any trophy, the summer's always great, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
You sit there and you wake up in the morning and you think about things, and you've won a trophy and you feel good about the team and everything else. To do the treble is just it's multiplied by 3 in a way.
Insanity.
It's just what I mean. You're the top team in Europe. You're going to be playing for number 1 in the world. You're going to play the World Club Championship.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to next year, to defending it and all the rest of it. Yeah, it's just a great feeling, isn't it?
Absolutely. Was that I was going to ask you, was that your favourite moment?
Yeah. I mean, I loved winning in Rotterdam because we'd been out of Europe for 5 years, and the first year back in Europe we win the Cup Winners' Cup, and to beat Barcelona in Rotterdam, that was a great feeling on that night.
Yeah.
But we had moments as well, and winning the double as well, and beating Liverpool in the final in '96 was tremendous. Doing the double in '94, I had a lot of good moments.
You did have a lot of
great moments, But the treble probably has to be the one. Yeah.
What was Sir Alec like behind the scenes? Give us it from your first observations towards the end of your tenure. Did things change with him? What was he genuinely like as a human?
Well, I was when Alec first came. We were private. We weren't a public company, so I used to see a lot more of Alec. Once we went public in '91, my duties became much more. You know what I mean? So I didn't spend as much time with him. Obviously, things like transfers and things like that. We have board meetings and debates. We meet during the week sometimes, whatever. But I wasn't as close later on. And obviously, as he had more and more success, his ambitions grow as well, and all the rest of it. And it's like any chief exec. I was not only chairman, I was chief exec as well. So I had to deal with him on things like salaries and wages and all the rest of it. And football managers always want the earth, don't they?
Yeah.
They can't always have it. So at times you get to a situation where it is boss against and you have your moments.
Yeah.
All I've ever said to anybody is, look, judges over the results of the partnership. You know what I mean? And I think we won 17 major honours.
Incredible.
Together. You know what I mean?
Incredible.
Yeah. So it wasn't always dead smooth.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yeah.
And I think the respect was there on both sides.
Oh yeah, I think I can tell that.
Yeah.
What was your worst moment during your tenure?
worst moment during the tenure was probably early on when I'd taken the job and we spent all that money and things went completely wrong. Going out of Europe, going out of the Cup early, and all the rest of it. As time went on, we started to get success.
Yeah,
I tell you what was. I always remember, if you asked me the worst feeling after a game, was actually in '95 when we lost at West Ham. Well, we drew at West Ham, and Blackburn won the league at Liverpool, because I just felt that we should have won that game.
Yeah.
We should have had a penalty. It was just you did the whole thing. We drew. We should have won. If we won, we'd have won the league.
Yeah.
And to lose it on the last game.
Awful.
Yeah, it was awful. So that was the worst moment. Before I became chairman, the worst moment was the Arsenal Cup final in '79, when we were 2-0 down. We come back, get 2 goals to 2-2, and then we go lose it in the last minute. You know what I mean? There was 3 goals in 4 minutes, 2 to us and 1 to Arsenal. Do you remember that? That was a terrible feeling, because you're out of it all afternoon, you're suddenly back in it, and then bang, you're shot dead again. So you know what I mean? There was, you can think of certain games which stand out. Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you're glad you're not chairman at the moment. I guess the last 10 years has not been the best, has it?
No.
How do you think Manchester United rectify the situation? Taking into account, obviously, Michael Carrick's done 4 games in a row and a draw, which is amazing. Yeah. But that sometimes happens, doesn't it?
Yes,
when Solskjaer took over, he won multiple games in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a question I asked Damon Holmes yesterday. I said, do you think if Michael Carrick wins every game towards the end of the season, Man United will get a new manager straight away?
Yeah. No, I think with Michael Carrick, I think they're in a nice position with Michael Carrick, because there's 12 league games to go.
Yeah.
They can sit back and see how he does.
Yeah.
He's done exceptionally well, I agree with you. I would love Michael Carrick to continue.
I think I'd like to see that.
Yeah. I think he's all about what Manchester United is about. He's an ex-player. He handles himself well. He's serious in football.
Yeah.
He got Middlesbrough playing some very exciting football. I think he's the right ingredients, and I would love him to carry on winning and get the job at the end of the season. But I think they're doing the right thing. Sit back and watch. See how he goes.
Don't make any big decisions at the moment.
I wouldn't be making a decision now. You don't need to.
No.
Why make a decision now that you could regret in 3 or 4 weeks' time? You know what I mean? They could sit back and he knows the situation. He won't be expecting to get the job tomorrow.
Yeah.
So just let it be. Yeah. Let's hope he does it.
Okay, big question for you now, Martin. Who is your favourite player from Man United of all time? Who is the best player from Man United of all time? 2 separate questions, really.
Almost impossible to answer.
It is, but we can take into account, you can kind of say you've got a top 5, so you can pick one out of your top 5 for who's the best and who's your favourite.
Well,
it changes every day sometimes.
Can I say before I took over and after I took over?
Absolutely. The whole history of Manchester
Before
United.
I took over, I would say that the Law Best Charlton era was incredible. Was incredible. Now, if you say to me who was the best between Law, Charlton, and Best, it's impossible to say.
Yeah.
George was a genius, absolute genius. Dribbling, all the rest of it. Dennis was fantastic. Could play in midfield, could score goals, striker, and everything else. Bobby Charlton was there forever. Long range goals, Bobby Dazzlers, 45-yarders, all the rest of it. 3 great players. If you say to me who was the greatest of those 3, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
But those 3 were unbelievable.
How would a team from the 50s, 60s of your greatest players compete with a modern day team now, taking into account though they all had an even playing field? They weren't playing with different pitches, balls.
Well, again, impossible to say, because today they are fitter.
Yeah, that's true. Nutrition's better.
Diets are better. They run harder.
What about skill and passion and heart?
The game's much faster.
Yeah.
It's a different game. How can you say? I mean, I can only say that in my book I picked the greatest team since 1958, and I had Law, Charlton, and Best all in it.
Yeah.
So I'm rating them ahead of today's players.
Yeah.
But I've got a lot of the modern players in there as well. Goalkeeping's improved beyond means. Schmeichel would be, or Van der Sar would be, ahead of the goalkeepers of the past. I don't know, just sheer athleticism or whatever.
But heart counts for a lot. There's always a lot of things directed at modern players. If they're not playing well, everyone says, well, you're on 300 grand a week. You've got no heart. So do you think the players back in the day had more heart?
I think that the club meant more to them today. I think today's players, people say they're mercenaries or whatever else, they come and play for a club. They don't they don't stay in the area. They move on.
Yeah.
It's a career, isn't it? It's, you know what I mean? It's a stepping stone. It's a career.
Yeah.
Some of them stay for much longer. But your Giggs and your Scholes, who stayed there to win 11 and 13 championships and all the rest of it. The thing is, those days are gone.
Yeah.
But you get somebody like Bruno Fernandes, who's been there for 5 years now.
Long time, yeah. He lives up the road, actually, doesn't he?
And he runs himself into the ground, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You couldn't say he's not Manchester United through and through at the moment.
He's a good family man as well, and that's what you need. Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It depends. It's a lot more trading today than there used to be, isn't there?
Yeah.
But I don't think the days of the homegrown players meant that they were more together, weren't they? You know what I mean? They grew up together, came in the youth team together.
It was a proper team. It was a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've answered the longer term.
Yeah.
The shorter term, again, I have great difficulty because, if you look at players like Ryan Giggs, you look at players like Brian Robson, Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, they're all up there in my top players. But the one who excited me the most, and that's how I would differentiate him, was Eric Cantona.
Of course, he excited us all, didn't he?
Yeah. He when he played, you look forward to going to the game. You knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, you did.
Something.
We all know the famous kung fu kick.
Yeah. But so he would be my biggest entertainer. But of all the others, they're all great players.
He's an enigma.
It's difficult
Cantona.
Saying who is the absolute. I loved Paul Scholes the way he played.
Now I can rate Cantona because I'm an actor. And is he a great actor? He's actually all right. He's actually all right.
Is he?
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah.
He's not going to ever be Marlon Brando.
No.
But he's all right. He gets a stick for being that.
Yeah.
The thing is about him is he's an enigma.
Yeah.
So when he used to do them quotes about the seagulls, everyone was like, "What the?"
Yeah.
But that's kind of why we like him, isn't it?
Was Brando your favourite? Was Brando your favourite? I love Brando.
My favourite actor. Right. Well, now you're asking me. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis. He epitomises as a. I hate to use the word artist because I always think of the word artist as someone who paints, but he is an artist. Yeah. He's somebody who. What footballer could you compare him to? He's so methodical.
Yeah.
He spends. Probably Ronaldo.
Yeah.
For all the time he would. If Daniel Day-Lewis was a footballer, he'd be the last person to leave the club. He'd be taking the free kicks and practicing and practicing and practicing. Yeah. So for me, for the accents he can do, for these, is just sheer skill. Is Daniel Day-Lewis without a doubt.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins has to come.
Oh, I've just read his book. Have you read his book?
No.
His book's great.
Yeah.
I like how he conquered. He was a raging alcoholic, and he conquered his demons. 50 years ago. So he conquered his demons.
Wouldn't have been easy to live with, I don't think.
No, and I actually admit he's not easy to live with. No. I've never met him, but he's probably one of the people that I've always admired. Yeah. I'm probably not interested in meeting him because even he says he's a bit difficult. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He's an introvert, believe it or not. And it's funny because being a performer, there's loads of actors who are introverts.
Yeah.
Acting in its purest sense is not really about showing off.
No.
It's about, it's an art form.
Yeah.
So he's your favourite.
Yeah, I think so.
Who is your?
I think as far as acting.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite manager of all time? Who's the greatest manager?
Who is the greatest manager or favourite?
Who do you think is the greatest manager of all time? And I've asked this question a lot this week, and it's always been the same. It's not what I would have expected, but you tell me.
I think, again, I'd probably split this. I'd say I think the greatest manager in the Premier League era is between Pep Guardiola and Alex Ferguson.
Yeah, obviously.
Alec was at it longer, won more because of the longevity of it. Pep's done exceptionally well in the shorter period. They've both had supreme support.
Yeah.
In terms of finance.
Of course.
You know what I mean? As we got wealthier and wealthier, we could also afford the best players. I mean, if you've got the best players, if you're a good manager or a great manager, and you've got the best players, you're going to have an advantage over the rest.
Yeah.
They both had that advantage.
But Samat
didn't have that advantage.
Of course, yeah.
Samat didn't have that advantage. Was also a great manager in a more competitive era, in the sense that all clubs
closer together
in terms of wealth.
Yeah.
And it was what should we say, more competition.
Nowadays,
the bigger clubs.
That's right.
You're narrowing it down.
Yeah.
The bigger clubs are going to have the advantage.
Because it's like comparing. A lot of people the obvious choice for the greatest Formula One driver would be between Schumacher and Hamilton because of the amount of things they've won. Yeah. But Ayrton Senna, if he hadn't have died at Imola, he was everyone's favourite driver with the panache. So I guess Matt kind of fits into that.
Yeah.
If Munich affected things, and there was various other things that went on.
But again, motor racing. You can say football. You can't compare football with eras. Motor racing is even. I grew up in the 1950s. Fangio. 5 times on the trot, world champion.
I know. Yeah.
Every time he went on the track, he risked his life. People were dying around him, all around.
Absolutely horrendous.
Were killed.
Yeah.
Every race, somebody was killed.
Yeah.
They literally, they're like fighter pilots. They risked their lives. He was unbelievable, Fangio.
Amazing.
And the 60s, Clark.
Yeah.
Clark was an unbelievable.
Jim Clark. Yeah.
You speak to people like. I don't know, the Scotch lad. What's his name?
Jackie Stewart.
Jackie Stewart. He was a great racing driver.
Yeah.
You ask him who was the greatest driver of all time, he'll tell you Jim Clark. Eras.
Yeah.
Different cars. Nowadays it's more computer, isn't it?
I mean, the mad thing is about Formula One these days is it's probably really safe.
Yeah.
Correct. Even if you do crash at 200 miles an hour, you're not even breaking your leg anymore, are you?
Comparison. You can't compare.
Yeah. I mean, they were wild days, like with Niki Lauda.
You can't compare Hamilton with Fangio.
No, you can't.
Compare Hamilton with Jim Clark.
I'm not even sure how well they would have been able to drive in them cars.
So it's a different, sport is evolutionary, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
It's like cricket today. The way they just feather the ball, there's 6 all over the place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different. Also, the instruments, the bats are different.
Yeah.
Golf. Look at the
tennis as well.
Tennis.
Yeah.
With the old rackets, the wooden rackets, and all that. You relate to that. They all wouldn't today. What you've got now. It's different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
I'll just say I'm not that old, Martin. Play with the wooden racket.
No, okay, I did. I certainly did.
So. 2003. What made you decide to leave Manchester United and sell the club?
I'd sort of I've been doing it for 20 odd years, haven't I?
Yeah.
I think what happened was I brought David Gill on as finance.
Who left not that long ago. He was there a long time, wasn't he?
I bought in 1997. I bought David Gill on in January. He joined us in January 1997 as finance director. I brought Peter Kenyon on in 97 as deputy chief exec, with the promise that I would go in 3 years' time. I was 52 at the time, whatever. So, but I brought him on to take over from me. I thought at 55, by then I'd been doing it for 20 years. I just felt that I'd taken it as high as I could. Perhaps somebody younger.
So it wasn't a difficult decision.
No,
it was just the right time.
I just felt at the right time. I wanted to go out at the right time. I didn't want to hang on. Whatever. 20 years is a long time as chief exec. You know what I mean? I stayed on another 3 years as chairman.
Yeah.
Till 2003. But in 2000 I stepped down as chief exec.
I remember. Yeah.
And Peter Kenyon took over. He did 3 years.
Did you get fans backlash? Because obviously the fans at Man United are very vocal. Did you get any of that, and how did you deal with it?
No, not really, because I don't think the fans were ever fully behind me anyway. You know what I mean? They're
not really fully behind most people in the hierarchy. If you lose once,
even though the success we had,
no,
the year I went out, we just won the year after. We just won the treble and all the rest of it. But I don't think the fans, funny enough, more today are more appreciative now than they were when I was doing the job.
Are they?
It's amazing. I go to supporters' dues now and all the rest of it. Honestly, they're lovely now.
Yeah,
they come up, they thank me. They say thank you for everything you did.
Well, it was the greatest period ever, wasn't it? In the history of any football
club. I can't tell you now, I don't get any abuse. I used to get abuse all the time. Now they come up, they bring the kids up and say, oh, this is, and all the rest of it. It's lovely. Yeah. It's totally changed. They're appreciative now of what went on before.
Yeah, time's a great thing, isn't it?
Well,
what do you, something that always interests me, what's going to happen to Old Trafford? Are they going to build another stadium?
I have no idea.
I mean, how would that work? Did all that land where the car parks are, they'd spend £1 billion there, keep them in the old one until it gets knocked down, and then go to Etihad? Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think they'd go to Etihad. I think what they would do is
something.
I think they'd build a new. If they were going to build a new stadium, they'd keep the old until the new.
Until they was ready to. Yeah.
But I don't know. It all seems to have stalled, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
And maybe it's stalled because don't forget, they're not in Europe this year, so there's no income from Europe. They've got out the FA Cup the first.
And how much is that? It's 50 million or something, isn't it?
Well, if you have a good run, 50, at least 50 million. You have a great run, it could be towards 100 million.
Yeah,
it's a big number. Got out the FA Cup and the League Cup the first round, so they're not exactly flushed with money.
No.
At the moment, they made a lot of redundancies on the recovery. They're trying to do something about the wage bill, which is why I think maybe Casemiro might go. I don't know. We're anticipating, but it's all gone cold. Let's put it that way.
Are they still the global force that they once were, even though they've had 13 years of not really being great?
In terms of reputation, yes, because I think you can be out of Europe, you can have a bad season or two. There's still a huge name. The following's still there. Still sell out every game, don't they?
Yeah.
And they've still got the worldwide support. People don't give up football clubs that lightly, do they?
No, and it's still a big brand, isn't it?
It's still a big brand. It's still a big brand. I would say if they get the act together, it would soon come back. You know what I mean? It's not gone.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gone.
No, I don't. I mean, I just think we all hope that they carry on this rich vein of form for the next few weeks.
Correct.
And,
Yeah.
Actually, we've got something in common, by the way, haven't we? I think your first television interview was with our friend Eamon Holmes, which was pretty much my first television interview back in the day.
Right. Yeah, Eamon told me that, I don't know if it was his first or job, but he said certainly it was one of his first.
It was one of his first jobs.
He was working for a newspaper in Ireland, and he was sent over to England to come and interview me at Old Trafford. So it must have been my early days of chairmanship.
That's right, yeah.
And he said he came over, so I don't remember it, you see, but he does.
Because we were talking yesterday that you were coming on, and he told me.
Yeah. Did he? Oh, he told you that?
He mentioned something about that, and then you jogged my memory before, so yeah.
And I said to him, was I all right with you? He said, you were very kind to me. He said, I was very nervous. He said, but you made me very welcome, so I was pleased with that.
He's a great guy, isn't he? And he actually does a lot behind the scenes at Manchester United, doesn't he?
He does. He's very friendly with one of our directors, Mike Edelson, and he comes to games occasionally.
Yeah.
It's sad to see him at the moment because he's definitely struggling a bit, isn't he?
We were talking a bit about that yesterday. His back's very bad. He's had a hip replacement. I think he might have mentioned he had a fall.
Yes.
As well. So he's just trying to manage it. He's still working very hard though.
Yeah.
Still going in every day. Yeah. So, last question, Martin. The one thing I ask everyone: what does the future hold for Martin Edwards? What's the next few years? You've got your book, haven't you? Red Glory.
I read my book. I wrote my book. Which I'm glad. I wasn't going to. I didn't feel as though I needed to. But when I got to 70, somebody said to me, "Look, if you don't do it now, you'll never do it. You'll forget everything and all the rest of it." And they said it would be an interesting story. In the same way, I'm trying to persuade David Gill to write a book because he took over and he did 10 years there. I think it'd be nice to follow on. I'm 80 now,
Well, you don't look it. I must say, well done.
I'm 80, so I mean, I still enjoy life. I keep good health. I was playing tennis up till this year, and I take a lot of holidays. I love traveling.
Where's your favourite place to go?
I can't say because I love
everywhere's amazing.
I've been to all continents. I've been all over the world. I'm still travelling. I'm going off to Africa in April. So I just enjoy my life, my holidays, and friends around.
Excellent, Martin. Thanks for coming on.
No,
really appreciate that.
Good.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
There's a different angle actually. There's a few things there that people haven't asked.
Yeah, well, we just try to keep it.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.